My guidance was to ensure this precious commodity is received by the trained professionals at each state. I expect the first shipments to arrive Monday morning.
This morning, the COVID vaccine is getting ready to be shipped out across the nation. Pfizer's workers loading boxes of the doses. How many vials of Valley's getting? Coming up.
No playbook. The team has put this together and created it based on a lot of unknowns.
As two major drug companies wait for FDA approval on their COVID-19 vaccines, hospitals across the country are now practicing giving the doses to patients. We take a look at how it'll be done. The fight for the DACA program continues. A federal judge ruling against the acting Homeland Security Secretary, what it means for new applicants. Straight ahead. Happening now, the search is on for this man, why Brownsville police need your help finding him. Plus, today's election day for the runoff elections out in Cameron County. We'll show you those ballots coming up.
Wet roads along the coast this morning. The rain will clear out, then a cold front expected later today. We'll track the cool weather coming up on Channel 5 News Saturday morning.
Distribution of the Pfizer vaccine starts today. This comes less than 48 hours after it was given emergency use authorization by the FDA. The company says each freezer can hold up to 60,000 vials, each small tray 195 vials, and each white cardboard box 975 vials. Early this morning, workers were seen loading boxes of the doses as well as dry ice to keep them cool. Hospitals are now on standby to receive the shipment.
We've actually been practicing because there's some special handling requirements for this vaccine. So we have everything scheduled in detail and we're ready to go.
And on your screen are the Valley hospitals that'll be receiving. Care workers will be first in line to get vaccinated.
I'm excited. The team is excited. We're ready. We're signed up. We have our scheduled date. Let's do this.
That evening was rough. I mean, I developed a low-grade fever and fatigue and chills. 30 minutes later, I had a little bit of stiffness, muscle soreness in my left arm. It's like you're punched in the arm, basically.
Right. That man took part in Moderna's COVID vaccine trial. The company is currently waiting to be granted emergency use authorization from the FDA. Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine use a type of genetic sequence called mRNA. Officials say this technology has never been used in humans outside of clinical trials. Coming up in our next half hour, we take a closer look at how it works. All new this morning, a death investigation for the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Department. In a tweet, Sheriff Eddie Guerra said 2 bodies were found on FM 1925 and Moorfield Road, east of Landing Drive. The bodies were male and female. No other information is available at this time. We'll keep you posted as we learn more. This one of several fights that broke out on the streets of Washington, D.C. Overnight, President Trump protesters going head-to-head with an anti-Trump crowd. First responders say they transported 4 critical stabbing victims to local hospitals. Officers trying to keep the peace were also injured. One police officer having to be assisted by backup as she limped her way out of the protest. According to officials, at least 23 people were arrested. The fight against the coronavirus continues. Across the nation, cases and hospitalizations are on the rise. If we take a look, there are 14.3 million infections throughout the U.S. and a total of 279,000 lives lost. Now city leaders are taking action. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault with the latest. Right now, Brownsville police are looking for a murder suspect. Sergio Lamas is accused of a deadly shooting. The victim, 25-year-old Luis Gonzalez. Police say Gonzalez was driving this red Nissan Altima down Padre Island Highway when he was shot at by someone in this black SUV on Halloween. Police add one person, Oscar Lamas, is already in custody and charged with murder. If you have any information, you're asked to call 546-TIPS. No bond. That is what a judge placed on a suspect accused of double murder. Augustin Castellano is now charged with capital murder and remains behind bars. Officials say he killed his wife and mother-in-law on New Year's Eve. Investigators explain they found the woman dead after being called out to the residence for a domestic disturbance. I want to remind the public that there is help out there. If you find yourself in need, call the Sheriff's Department at 383-8114.
I'm going to buy groceries with it. Essentials, deodorant, body wash, all that.
I'm glad it's something. Something is better than nothing.
As more Americans receive their stimulus checks, experts now have a warning: the new scams that are out there. Now that we've entered a new year, health is at the top of everyone's list. The tips experts have to start the year right. Coming up after the break. A Officials out on the West Coast continue to fight a wildfire that sparked on Wednesday. Officials say the cause, a house fire. Currently, fire danger remains high due to the unpredicted wind gusts and dry conditions. Over 25,000 residents have been forced to evacuate their homes. Around 500 firefighters and 11 helicopters have been dispatched from around the country to try and stop the flames. Fire departments say so far only 10% of the flames have been controlled. And Serge, those unpredicted wind gusts can be a real problem. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, I mean, it just adds fuel to the fire. We know that oxygen is what feeds fires, but fortunately right now those winds are pretty calm there. That's in Silverado, California. Those wind speeds around 0 miles per hour right now will continue to climb a little bit during the afternoon, up to 7 miles per hour, but those winds much calmer than the last couple of days, and I think even tomorrow will be calm. But look at this. This is Santa Ana winds returning on Monday and Tuesday, so that's just going to add fuel to that fire there in California. As we head back closer to home, we're dealing with a drought here, but notice lots of rain on the map. This is Doppler radar, lots of green and yellow, especially.
On April 2nd, we had more than 4,300 individuals, and of those, approximately 3,700 were unaccompanied children. The challenge remains. Immigration is a very dynamic challenge.
You just heard from Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. He was in the Valley today to discuss the situation our region is facing. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Reina Rodriguez. You're watching Fox News Rio Grande Valley. During a press conference, Mayorkas mentions the plans the government has to tackle. Magali Vega has the story. Now take a look at this. A traffic stop in San Antonio leads to the capture of undocumented immigrants. About 80 to 100 people were taken into custody on Thursday. The migrants were being transported behind an 18-wheeler. Officials say a 29-year-old driver was taken into custody. 29 of the undocumented immigrants are being processed by DHS. Homeland Security is now investigating. Now take a look at this. According to the CDC, over 254 million vaccines have been administered and over 110 million people are fully vaccinated. Now, vaccine maker Pfizer is taking a large leap forward and applying for full approval of its COVID-19 vaccine. Isabel Rosales brings us the latest. Texas, the latest GOP-controlled state to move forward on new voting laws. Earlier today, the Texas House passed a new election bill. Now, the new rule is largely targeting mail-in voting. Republicans claim it will boost the public's confidence in elections, while Democrats say the bill is designed to suppress the Democratic vote. During a press conference, the White House responding.
These laws make it harder to vote. That's not a good thing. And his view is that any law that passes across the country should make it easier to vote. So he will continue to redouble his efforts to move legislation forward with Congress. And his overall view is there's no good reason to make it more difficult for people to exercise their right to vote across the country.
Texas joins other states such as Florida, Georgia, and Iowa who have already passed their own voting laws. We're just days away until Mother's Day, and CBP officials are reminding the community that certain flowers are not allowed into the U.S.
Like chrysanthemums and choicea, which are not allowed. However, any other arrangements, as long as there's no soil in the flower, they can be brought in, but they gotta be inspected for pests.
Guerra adds agriculture specialists will be working over the weekend to make sure you bring the right flowers. Now, for a complete list of items that you are not allowed to cross, you can visit the website cbp.gov. Walmart is expanding their health services after the break. Find out what that means for you.